Hey, what's up, y'all? So we're gonna take off tonight with a new chapter, chapter two. That's breathing underwater. Um, the chapter is called Resistance. So without further ado, it's a little late. So we having late night story time with the new author, myself, SirWill Lazarus. All right, multifaceted too. So we got other projects coming. Resistance. Coming home from being incarcerated is not always a smooth transition. A lot of the working disciplines are honed inside when you're stripped of all your vices and creature comforts. In the middle of a drug craving, I say, I haven't had all these things for this long. Fuck it. And whatever addiction was, I picture myself happy without it. If a man is locked down for a considerable amount of time and never takes a moment to concentrate on himself or uh, uh, engage in self improvement, that means he's a liability and he doesn't give a fuck. He's a liability to himself, he's a liability to his family, and it just speaks to the brokenness of a person. If you can go off somewhere and not come back with any maturity, any type of skills, all you know is curse words and who was doing what on the street, you probably missed the point of your trip. Even in the dark, we must take our steps. And those of us who refuse to grow will eventually have no more uses. This world is constantly moving, revolving, changing, and growing around us. So how could we not? Some guys will be super polished and smooth within the system. Haircut, teeth white, wearing glasses, being studious and courteous. For example, an inmate would thank you and hello to death a female's corrections officer, hold doors for fellow inmates, and fetch water for the sergeant. Yet when the same person comes back home and gets around people that really love them, they won't extend these same acts of grace to these people. And these are some of the more misled thugs that I came across in my journey. We will have to reverse that mentality and have the same empathy and validation and have the same empathy as we had when we were meek before the parole board. We would need to be able to absorb and withstand the same challenges from the family and community as we had the system that we were trying to escape. Think about the time when you promoted peace or moved the situation to the side so that you can continue to make it towards a goal. Have that same energy. What's important to understand is that improvements require work. A lot of things we discuss start with self. You are a body of work from head to toe. Even reading this book is work. To chase drugs and women requires work. To think, breathe, and dream, the body will work. It's safe to say that we will work until we die. Don't get caught up in a bitter, poor, Karen SSI mentality on waiting for things to come to you or thinking something will be free. Even if all you have to put out is good energy, start with that. Everybody is not going to have finances and all this superhero shit that, if you got good energy, start with that. To be comfortable in prison is to accept a low standard. I never tried to let it be too easy or have all the amenities. I brought a television, but not one of the tablets that they play music on. And also, these tablets, you could send messages to your family and friends. They had a few games that you could load on there, but they weren't. But they was garbage devices to begin with, and weren't worth pouring money into. No matter how much I had, I never saw the sense in this investment. It was monitored and had to be plugged into a kiosk to send and receive messages. Not having one was my way of defiance, and everybody had them. Everyone would be screaming and clapping so loud at their television on game day, you'd have thought they were in the playoffs or at the Super Bowl. I have to. I had my television off. Excuse me. I had my television off, laying on my back with my eyes closed, learning to sleep, think, and control my outbursts through the chaos, intercoms, and everything else, without lacking, being on point, but also being adjacent from everything else, so I can have my own internal stuff going on. The more comfortable one can make themselves in prison is accepting defeat in advance. For me, it was saying I didn't have to perform in society, and that wasn't true. For someone else, it could be accepting the resignation of if anything happens in life, that they could always come back to jail and have it made. I respect everyone who doesn't agree, but to see a point from another level is priceless. This is what I like to call comfort versus punishment. Pause one time. Yeah, so if you go to a place where you're being punished and you seek all the best comfort, and you're not in that place to stay and you will come home, then when you come home, if you in the thinking about committing the crime and the consequences, when you go back to jail, or if you go back to jail, you won't look at it like the worst thing in the world. You'll be like, oh shit, I did 2, 3 years on my head. I did 5 years on my head. And that's actually the error in thought, because well, I continue reading. You get my drift. But to guys who got life sentence in similar circumstances, I would never tell them how to live their lives. Contentment is the aim for these guys who've exhausted legal remedy. I've had more than one guy inform me that he was waiting on some laws to change or some acts to be passed. Or the guys who came in when they were 15 and are now 65. A tablet is cutting edge for them. I wouldn't tell them to stop having their favorite playlist. More than a few guys I knew within the walls personally were exceptional hustlers. Most of them had no income coming from loved ones on the street, yet their sales stayed full of hygiene. Some kingpins operated stores on other housing units to supply the demand on the other blocks. They had inmates sending cash and ordering full bags of commissary. All this seems minuscule, but the motion of this hustle could easily rival that of a corner store operator on the street. I like to refer to them as honey bun empires. If an item was in short supply, the store man would purchase the entire inventory, and now you would have to pay the markup if you still wanted that item. I have seen and heard men proudly boast to say they have sent money to their children and mothers. Some men really pay all of the bills at home and buy their kids cars to go off to college with. Now that's a man living with a purpose, and may he see the streets again. The gambling tables and sports tickets are also major industries within the prison system. These tables and tickets run like Las Vegas. Inmates watch sports to help pass time. To be engrossed in football from September until February is a load off one's conscience. He doesn't have to worry about why his family hasn't been answering the phone in the moment, or why he hasn't received mail, or why he hasn't had a physical contact visit in 5 years. When all the stimulus checks came back, all the honorable men with responsibilities sent money home. Only after the prison took 20% for any cost or fines that may have been owed, then all the commissary skyrocketed. Shoes, tablets, televisions, keyboards all went out of stock. With that being said, it was still a win for the men because they got to have what they wanted. For instance, when the stimulus came in, some guys got 1,400, some guys was getting like close to $2,000. Some niggas was scamming, and everybody had a chance to own a television, to own a tablet, to own a keyboard, to buy some shoes. So that energy, it lasted a long time, and it took away some of the pains of COVID. It made people happy. It made people smile. People were sharing with each other. You know, things that just don't normally happen. It was going on. So, um, yeah. When the stimulus checks came back, all the honorable men with responsibility sent money home after they taxed them 10% or 20%. With that being said, it was still a win for the men. The jail was bustling. The hustlers profited. The meek ate good. I grimaced over receiving another parole hit / extension. I knew part of the money would be used to help me finance another year in prison. Oh, I was pissed. From being in halfway houses and parole offices, I seen some of these same men from upstate struggle to structure a healthy lifestyle and apply their skills to the real world. Many times, guys will experience a healthy change and they gain exceptional confidence in prison, then come home and fail to muster the same replica of success that they had inside the walls. This is daunting for these men trying to survive in a new world. Now, this leaves them vulnerable to risking their freedom to stay in tune with the economical shifts. A lot of thought goes through the mind when the job doesn't land, but you still have to keep going. For me, going to Burger King and spending almost $20 on a value meal I saw on TV when I was incarcerated was a reality check for me. So you have to fight. You have to fight through all these challenges for the man who is re-entering society. And imagine an only child. They are inherently strong in spirit. They fight and have bad attitudes in school. Sometimes they have attitudes in school, but they resolute with what they believe in. Uh, they don't follow rules unless they understand them and it aligns with their logic. You would have to explain to the young boy why he couldn't grab the goldfish out of the tank. Once understood, he's proud to make others aware not to hurt the fish as well. In short, the stubborn child always takes pride in learning something that makes sense. You would need to apply the same assertiveness as the stubborn, fearless child. You would need to pull yourself away from negative messaging leading you back to your impending doom. You would need to resist self doubt, self deprecating thoughts, and self loathing while making choices as if your life depended on it because it does. Like going from a good diet and replacing it, just like going from a bad diet to good, replacing the negative with the essentials like positive affirmations, confidence, and courage. Be stubborn in this way. Be stubborn to succeed when you find yourself embarrassed, to catch the bus or walk down the road or make something happen for yourself. The harder you battle, the better the victory. All right, so that's another chapter, and just to do a summary of it, it's talking about people coming home from being incarcerated, and it could be very scary. Um, After being in the cell for so many years, being in the institution, the compound for so many years, a plantation for so many years, it can have effects on people. Uh, I know for me, I didn't want to be around a lot of people. Um, kind of reclusive now. So, and I was before as well, but now it's, hey, it just is what it is. But you would have to fight and resist your old thought process, all the negativity, anything you may learn. You would have to resist that. Coming out here and trying to succeed and have consecutive years free and live the rest of your life as a free person. So that's where the resistance comes in that. And when we're speaking about the ornery child, I used to be an ornery child, and you would have to break things down to me real well, to my understanding, for me to stop uh, acting up or committing an act that was, frowned upon. Thank you for watching this video. I think I made it like 2 or 3 times. So, I thank y'all for sitting here with me. It's going to be a cult classic. Y'all getting it first here. I'm dropping chapters daily. So just walk with me a little bit. We're going to figure it out together. Thank you for being a part of this. Um, when you do read the book, or if you do read it, because I'm giving it here to you, it's a very cohesive work. You will love it. If you have some children struggling or just becoming adults, the 20-year-old, 20-ish, and they going through the phases of destroying their life, this is something you might want them to see. This might be a book that they could read and gain some understanding. I've been through this. This is my story, So I appreciate everybody that tapped in with me, and I catch up y'all tomorrow. Um, it's another chapter. The next chapter will be Hood Karens, and it's a very explosive chapter. I see you then. Have a good night, y'all.